wish out you a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate. Then off your fucking head.
Good afternoon, man.
Hey, brother. Good afternoon, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I feel real good.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Man. It's a new year. I want to start off by saying, Happy New Year to everyone, man. And happy 2024.
Right.
We here and trying to get things together back here at the at the Narrative, man. And I just want to tell everybody, share this page, like this page, subscribe, give us a like. Listen, when you guys just come through and just like the page, it helps out with our algorithm, man, and it helps out with the station. It helps out getting people to know our messages and all that good stuff, man. So I'm just going to continue to ask you guys for your support. And just thank you so much for all that you're doing, man. So, yeah, let's go ahead and open this one up, bro. Hey, my name is Malcolm Yates.
And my name is Andrew Nelson.
And, man, we are The Narrative. And I want to kind of start off by, I'm repping my fraternity colors, man, because our founder day is coming up, man. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, Delta Sigma Sigma, Delaware County chapters. Chester City is our home base, man. So happy Founders Day to the men of Phi Beta Sigma.
Happy Founders Day, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate that,
That's
man.
So I love to see the brothers.
You know what I'm saying? So now that we're here, man, in 2024, we always get that old school, what was that old colloquialism? New year, new you.
Yeah,
right?
New year, new me.
New me.
Right.
With that being said, man, new year, new narrative. What narratives are we leaving behind, bro? What is this things that we just say, yo, bruh, it's time to get rid of this shit?
What do we need to get rid of? So you know what I'd like to see us get rid of? I'd like to see us get rid of going on every trend but sticking together.
Ooh.
Right? That's the one I'd like to see die in 2024. We got ceiling challenges in the past. We got ALS challenges. We got all kind of TikTok challenges and dances, and we participate in it, and we give all of our energy and our time, and we sit there and we try to make all of the competition, all to make this algorithm of this social media pop, right? And all of the work and everything and all of the collective nature that we have, and then we go on about to live the rest of our lives divided as hell.
You trying to start me up, didn't you?
I mean,
you know how I feel about this. I do. Shout out to people who just does the challenges. There's no problem with that.
Right.
All I'm saying is let's have the same energy when something that's a relevant challenge.
Right.
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 If you got time for the shenanigans,
right.
Let's have time for the building and the strength.
For sure.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Balance. Right.
One of the things we need to leave in 2023, man, is I think we need to leave in 2023 the divisiveness between male and females, man. We are trying to build the nuclear black family and the nuclear family, man. But all these podcasts pitting us against one another.
That we need to leave it in 2023.
Yeah, man. All these shorts and all these videos of extremely unqualified folks giving relationship advice,
man,
and one gender telling the other gender what they need to do and things like that.
Or what masculinity looks like or what femininity looks like. When you don't have any qualifications.
None. Can we leave that in 2023?
Yeah, I'd love to leave that in 2023.
I'm not trying to hear somebody tell me what toxic masculinity is. Guess what? My masculinity is not toxic.
Right.
And I'm going to be
the
masculine.
only thing that's toxic about masculinity, you ready for it?
Is when you don't have none?
Is the lack thereof.
Oh, shit.
That's
right? It. It's nothing more toxic than seeing a man that can't produce his natural order.
That's it.
Because that's natural.
That's it.
So let's leave that. Let's leave that one in 2023, man. What else we need to leave there, man?
Right. I would say the way that we tear each other down in general, not even just like to pit it against each other, man versus woman, but like just the way we just like to tear each other down, or even allow other people to tear us down. Like, you know what a good example that I want to talk about? This Harvard,
the president
situation. The president.
That's a great transition, man, because that is the epitome of tearing someone down, regardless of of what your thoughts are, right? So for those who don't know, and for our audience, the president of Harvard was summoned to have a hearing in Congress where they were asking about the protest that was happening on campus.
Right.
Right. So they had Penn, they had Harvard. I think it was Stanford. Don't get me wrong, but I know Penn and Harvard was there, and two other Ivy League schools, where they were talking about one. How are they allowing students to protest for Palestine or however they believe against the Israel, the whole thing over there in Israel.
Right.
And the presidents were saying, like, look, each student has their own right to protest and their freedom of speech.
That's a fact.
Right? And us as a college or institution do not have the liberties to impede on their rights.
Right.
So they allowed it, but some people saying, okay, they are only promoting violence against against a group. They're saying it is hate speech. They're saying that it's causing other students to have of their lives in jeopardy. Right. And they were completely against the actions of those presidents.
Right. And to make sure I'm understanding just from the simplest point, is the problem that people spoke out in favor of the wrong team? Because hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out, right? I've said many a times, let me run the resume real quick. Iraq, Afghanistan veteran, boots on deck in Iraq, helicopter gunner in Afghanistan. I've seen a couple of different facets of war. The one thing I can tell you about it is none of it is pretty and nobody wins.
At all.
Right?
At all.
So now with that being said, when I see a group of college students get up and speak out because they feel that what they have seen looks, tastes, smells, and feels like genocide, right? And these independent thinkers who were in college, in the institutions, Harvard, arguably one of the most revered institutions of this nation, right? When they are there due to Harvard's understanding of the need of diversity, equity, and inclusion of all people, and they're all there speaking out collectively saying that, hey, listen, I think this is wrong, to then respond and say that by them saying it's wrong, they should be censored, because that's what it feels like, damn censorship, right? To say that it's wrong, all because them saying that it's genocide and they're labeling it as anti-Semitic, I don't understand that. I don't know how to wrap my mind around that, because I didn't hear them say death to Israel.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear them say anything other than calling out the actions that they witnessed to be appearing as genocide.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And either, here's the thing. Do they make the Charlottesville mayor step down when those people was in Charlottesville protesting in their khakis talking about, what was they called? I forgot what they were called. They were some terrible folks, right?
They were the Proud Boys.
The Proud Boys.
That was what they were called.
So did they stand up and say you allowed them to practice hate speech when they was with tiki torches? Right. Because I don't think this is happening on campus.
No.
All right. So did they go to any of the councilmen, mayors, to any of the people in the South during Birmingham, or let's say now when you have hate groups like the Klan march through their streets, was there any pushback to that?
Right.
And then Klan has a historical back. They violence is what they do.
Right.
Like that's what they do.
For sure.
But no, there's have never been any type of recourse for that.
Yeah.
For them allowing them to exercise their right to protest.
Well, to be all fair and while exposing the bullshit at the same time in one sentence, what I will say is there was a little bit of recourse to that. After Charlottesville, I did read that the FBI listed white supremacist groups as one of the largest threats to domestic security.
Why?
Right? But well, you said why?
Why?
Well, because they are.
but you know why?
Right.
Because somebody got hit by a car.
Yeah.
During that protest in Charlottesville, when the car ran down the street and hit the woman and she died.
Yeah.
So it took that violence that truly happened, which is already innate inside of those groups, for them to finally say, damn, we got to do something about this.
But now, while exposing the bullshit simultaneously, the question is real simple. What changed? Come over a little bit closer.
Nothing.
Because
Nothing.
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me give you a little more room.
Yeah, I don't know what changed.
Now that they've listed it as the number one threat to domestic security or whatever it was at that time. Okay. I don't know if it still is to this day.
Okay.
Right. I just happened to read it during that time when it was a hot topic that was one of the things they moved. But what changed? Right? Did you see rage happen all across the country on Proud Boys and on white supremacist groups, sort of like they did in the 70s with that amazing group of individuals who said that they wanted their own rights and taken care of? What were they called? Panthers. Right? There we go.
Oh yeah. The Black Panthers.
Was it anything like that? Did you see a national effort in policing to ensure that all of the local police departments was trained up on the effects of white supremacy and how it's how it's going to degrade our nation, how it degrades the national security from the internal part, how it spikes feelings of civil war? Did you see any of that occur? Was there a federal program that was established under the FBI with the new successor of Hoover to attack that? I just don't recall it.
And you're absolutely right. And to that point, right? So now they fired Dr. Gay.
Right.
And the people responded.
Sure.
The group that felt that they were threatened, that felt that they were disrespected, responded in such a way to get the president not only from Penn to step down, but the very first black president of Harvard to step down.
Right.
And the tactics behind it of getting her with plagiarism. Right. It hurts to see that type of council culture destroy someone, for one, that really has a true heart and protection and good North Star to help out folks. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So to tear them down that way, but then to remove one of our firsts.
Right. Wasn't she the first?
The very first. Right? So now to
remove her with no protection. But then why though?
Exactly.
On what ground?
So they say she plagiarized a portion of her dissertation.
Dissertation.
And they said that now her doctorate is in question. So they made her step down that way. The board made it very known that she has to step down.
The same board that hired this eminently qualified women to lead the college.
Absolutely.
They went and dug back up something from when she first got her doctorate.
Absolutely. So in response to that, how are we supposed to feel? Because I've been hearing that there's groups, I've been hearing that there's people who are very, very upset that our very first black and African American president of a esteemed institution of Harvard. Because I mean, Harvard is one of the biggest, largest, most powerful
institutions of higher learning,
economic ecosystem. It's an ecosystem, bro.
Yeah, it's King's College.
Let's
call it what it is.
For real.
Right? It's the succession of it.
I can be the very last person in my class of 300 of 300. As long as I graduated, I can go anywhere and say, I'm from Harvard. Yeah. And I'm stamped.
For sure.
I'm an instant CEO.
For sure.
So that, and in having someone of likeness, like mind, to
leading the
institution to also provide a pathway, because you can't be what you can't see,
right?
For other young people of color to see,
right,
is really expelling us from that ecosystem that we fought so hard to one, we built, and secondly to be a part of, right, and to be successful of.
Right.
So now, one, how do they replace her? Should it be another person of color?
Right.
And is that person of color just someone as a token?
Well, let's get into that, right? Because should they replace her? Yes, right? Oh, well, first of all, no, they shouldn't. No, let me be intentional with my words.
All right.
No, they shouldn't replace her, because what the fuck did she do, bro?
Nothing.
Like, let's keep it Dougie, right? So this whole plagiarism mess, I think it's a non-starter, because she was good enough to get hired. She has been operating in the field well enough to show that she's clearly qualified. And the fact that now that she didn't play ball with the way that you wanted her to play ball, now you want to come and show like, listen, I gave it to you so I can take it away. No, you can't. No, you can't, because she's still just as qualified as she was before you gave this bullshit.
Take that away from me.
Right? Because at the end of the day, you put her in that position for a reason.
And there was many scholars who got plagiarized too, as well. Go ahead.
But as she was the president, what did she do? She protected freedom of religion.
That's right.
Right, which is enshrined in our Constitution.
That's right.
The framers saw it so important that they listed it even before freedom of speech in the First Amendment. Go on and read it if you don't believe me.
Absolutely.
If you don't believe me, right? So she spoke on, or as you were, because she didn't say anything. She allowed her students to protest, right, which is their First Amendment right. She made a safe space so that all people, right, can be heard, right, especially brown people, right, like the Palestinians who the students so understandably feel have acts of genocide committed against them on a daily basis, funded by U.S. dollars, right? While the same U.S. sends dollars to Israel, they send humanitarian aid to Palestine. I don't think you'd send humanitarian aid to anybody unless you thought that they were in some kind of need for humanitarian aid. So if you think they're in need for humanitarian aid, then maybe...
Because they're not being treated humane, so you bring aid to those who are treated humane.
So these free-thinking college students at Harvard who are attending the university that we revere as some of the best and brightest minds ever can critically think and see this, and then she allows it as a president like she's supposed to do.
And even though some of them probably a little too woke, and
and that's possible, but define too woke. You still have your right. Because at the end of I was just about to say, because at the end of the day, it is my right. I could be as...
You could be as far left as you want to be, or as far right as you want to be.
Because the reality is, you could be an extremist in your views. It is not until you turn those views to physical, tangible actions that you've actually done something wrong.
Is an issue, absolutely.
Right? Or if you slander somebody, right? Or if you incite some kind of insurrection. What is today?
Hey, today is January the 6th, 2024.
Let me
3 years. And that's a great transition because you start talking about, removing people from protesting, right? You start talking about people who were doing things wrong. Black. And what was it P say?
I'm sorry. He said, but what color was she? He chimed in. I'm sorry for cutting you off, brother. No. I just saw that and it made me tingle a little bit.
It was right, man, right? Because, again, it goes back to what was the response when it comes down to who's protesting. Right. So now that you had brought up January the 6th, what was the response to these protesters?
Well, I heard at first nothing. Right.
For a minute.
It could be argued that they was let in.
Ooh. So let me.
It could be. Go ahead.
So I got a little story on this one, right? So everybody knows that, or if you don't know, I was an employee of the federal government from 2018 to 2021, or 2017, 2021. And I worked in Congress for our Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon. Now, during the same time, it was the pandemic, and we needed to have the jab. Okay, I don't want nobody to get upset. So in order to work, we had to get the jab, right? Get the shots, right? So I'm on my second round of getting my shot, and I got mine done in D.C. And I was only going to get mine done at the Capitol at the time because it was January 2021. This was the first batch. Vaccination competency was very, very, very low. Very, very low.
Yeah.
And I said,
it still is to this day.
Yeah, to this day. And I said to myself, I will not get mine done no other place than where Congress get theirs done.
Right.
Because if they're not going to poison Congress, they ain't going to poison my black ass, right? Fact. So I went down to D.C., get my second shot. This was on January the 3rd, 2021, right? January 3rd, 2021. I'll show you something, too. Look like I got some money in my pocket, but don't. But what this say? Hold on. Where is that? I'm going to just show you because I don't want people to think I'm lying, right? Oh, man, I can't find my vaccination card no more. Okay, there you go. All right, what that say right there?
Let me read it.
At the bottom, what that bottom say?
At the bottom, it say Pfizer, BioNTech, and then that's a 2021, 1/3/21 and 1/25/21.
All right, so Pfizer. January 3rd was my first one. I apologize.
Sure
so January 3rd was my first shot, right? So I went down there. Mind you, I'm a congressional employee. Right. I got Congress. I'm working at Congress.
My man said I got credentials.
I'm got credentials.
I got credentials.
I'm getting out the cab. Right. This is it right here. I just want you to show. This is my congressional ID. Right. So I get out the cab, the Uber to get my shot. Soon as I get off at the Rayburn building, they got security outside, guns. gates up. I'm sitting here like, what the hell's going on? Like, DC never looks like this. There's never no gates up like this. Like, crowd gates. As soon as I got out the Uber, the guy with the damn AK was like, what are you doing?
And one more time to make sure I'm following this. What day was this, my brother?
This is January 3rd.
This was January 3rd.
This is January 3rd, 2021. So they came out the car. Guard like, yo, what are you doing? I said, hey, here's my government ID. I'm down here to get my vaccination. He's like, looked at it. All right, go ahead, right? Mind you, security presence is very, very high.
And this never happens.
It's never like this.
Okay.
I go to D.C. often. My job was to make sure I go to D.C. and come there in Delaware County. That was my job. So get inside, start talking to some of my colleagues. My colleagues say to me, hey, Malk, you coming to work this week?
Why wouldn't I?
Say
It's a work week, ain't it?
It's a work week, bro.
Right.
Mind you, this vaccination shot was on a weekend, so it was a Sunday.
Okay.
You coming to work this week? I said, yeah, why? He said, yeah, because they told us we have the week off.
Say what? Hold on.
If I go up missing, y'all already know because it's
Hold on.
right?
Hold on. On January 3rd.
January 3rd.
3 days before.
3 days before it happened,
January 6th.
I was asked, Malk, are you going to work?
Let me see them credentials again. just in case people want to question and call it.
I just want people to understand. Look, this is my congressional ID. I still carry it around, even though I'm not a staffer. But sometimes it look good when I'm down there.
It does indeed. And right here, U.S. House of Representative. It has the rep on there, so it's real. It's legitimately real.
And then here's my vaccination card. I still carry it.
And
it's
then the
laminated.
vaccination card.
It's still laminated.
So just want to make sure we got some more air verification.
Exactly.
And January 3rd, you got told that they was told all the congressional staffers was told that y'all got the week off.
They got the day off, or you can work virtually. Oh, that's new.
Right.
Okay.
So the guards was new.
The guards was heavy.
The gates
Security
was new.
was high.
Right.
The gates is new.
And then you found out through the grapevine, not even by not even by any kind of no congressional memo.
This didn't come down for nobody else.
No kind of HR.
Water cooler talk. Water cooler talk.
I understand.
And I'm like, all right, I ain't paying no mind. You know what I mean? So I came out, I went back to the hotel before I went back home. And I was just talking to my wife because she came down there with me, and I'm just like, hey, babe, like it was crazy out there. Like, and she agreed because she was seeing a lot of the stuff that was going on. So 3 days later, I turn on the news. Right? Matter of fact, I don't need to turn on the news. Matter of fact, I was working in the office.
Right. You looked out the window.
Right. I didn't go to DC. I was back home.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was back in the district office, and then we get a phone call from our DC office stating like, listen, Congresswoman is barricaded in her room, hiding from the insurrection. And I'm like, wow, how do they know to tell us to have the day off work,
right?
If there wasn't some inside baseball being played,
right.
And then as things were going on, they said that, oh, there was tours being held the day of, right? And you start to put things together, and you're like, yo, somebody somewhere was conspiring to make this happen.
Yeah.
And one thing that made me so upset about January 6th was the fact that I got questioned on the sidewalk,
right,
to see people in rooms in places inside the Capitol where that ID could not even get me. I couldn't even get, I would have to be escorted hand in hand by Congress or a person who's elected with that security clearance to be in those spaces. I was lucky enough to be able to ever be in the speaker's office, right? And I wasn't even in the main office.
Right.
These jokers was on the desk.
On the desk. I saw it live. They were in Nancy's office, bro.
Right.
So just a little bit of context. So I'm watching this on the news now. in 2021 at this point, I'm already a lot more versed in politics. I understand it. So I'm like, yo, like this feels like a dress rehearsal. Almost, right? Because I was like, I can't believe my eyes. I'm seeing people score up the sides of the steps on TV. Right? The Capitol is being overran. It's on TV. They got on Viking hats and face paint. I saw clips of busloads of people coming in, right? This is organization. This is protesting. This is at the largest scale, right?
Word.
Right? And for the same protest that a president at Harvard allowed her constituents, she allowed them, and then she ended up getting taken down for plagiarism.
For plagiarism.
There was a protest that was insurrected, and then the same president that allowed that is up for re-election.
For someone who's seen it and refused to respond.
Right.
Now, however...
he responded because I remember something to the nature of him giving some kind of cryptic message to the Proud
whack-ass
Boys
speech, right?
Or something like that.
So for that to be said, right, and however you feel about 45,
yeah,
whether you think he's good or bad or whatever the case may be, the mere fact that we lost President Gay from Harvard for her allowing people to protest peacefully,
right,
for the simple fact that they're allowing 45 to re-campaign for president,
right,
and throw that shit out the window like it never mattered,
right, inciting an insurrection against the government. Because the goal of those people were to go in there and wreak havoc and fear and force the vote of the people to not elect the president.
And here we are, like, allowing things just to, like, it really bothers me, man, because I'm not as patriotic as, a lot of people may be. I don't wear the American flag on my shirt and all that good stuff. But to see those folks desecrate the Capitol, it pissed me off.
It did.
Right?
And I understand.
And it was like, if that was the Million Man March, if that was the Black Panthers, those people would have been acted upon
for sure
instantly.
Right. But let me ask you this, bro. What do you think it said to the worldwide? Because they aired this on the news, so all outlets had access to see what was going on. Right. What kind of sign does that give to somebody who wants to see death to the West? Right.
That's an opening. That's if you are one of those countries that don't like American politics and wants things to get destroyed over here, that is when you talk about a complete chink in the armor.
Right.
I mean, a large chink in the armor.
So that's actually what on my social medias, that's what I was saying the whole day. I was like, this is wild because I don't think we think about the long-term implications, the instability of the nation, right? As a whole. We like to talk about national security, but what is more insecure than to see that we had an insurrection occur against our government, a nationally televised insurrection, a coup, an attempted coup, a failed coup attempt play out on the news as they ran through the halls of Congress.
But you know what I'm also hearing with this now?
They work together.
They saying that, but they saying that both sides had a piece of this.
Yeah, and doesn't it make sense when you was already seeing that the prequel of the setup for it was occurring on January 3rd? Right. Clearly, somebody had to know because you told me that the gates and the guards was not normal at all.
Not normal, bro.
Dress rehearsal, man.
Not normal. Not normal, right? Yeah, at places down there, they got the where they got the barricades on the street where it comes up and stop you. The guards are there at certain access points. But dog, this was not even that type of ball game, right? So both parties now are rumored to have some involvement in this, and it's to do what? What is it to do? Is it to increase voter turnout? Is it to make sure that we don't we fall for the banana in the tailpipe and continuously see short-sighted?
I think it's all of it, to be honest with you. Because if I could keep the American public distracted and entertained both simultaneously, because that's where entertainment came from, right? It was a distraction. To be clear, the radio and the TV was created not because it was some kind of invention that was going to revolutionize mankind. At the time, people were afraid that it was going to make us dumb. And right they were.
They called it the idiot box.
Right, the idiot box, right they were. Because what it ended up doing was it trained our brain to have a bunch of inputs that feel real, because your brain don't know the difference between TV and reality, right? A bunch of inputs that feel real, that affect us, affect our physiology, and ultimately control us and distract us, right? I learned from reading a speech a little while ago, and then we'll transition, that previous to the creation of television, right, people could listen to a 2-hour speech and recall about 2/3 of the content hours later, right? Hours later. Wasn't no rewinds back then. You understand what I'm saying? They were just able to be locked in with their attention span paying attention, processing information, and learning on the fly, right, from a speech, in so much that you could retain 2/3 of the information hours later. I know people that will have a conversation with you right now and forget about what they talked about in 6 minutes. So the reality is technology.
I'm one of them.
Right.
I'm one of them. I can't even lie.
And to be honest, before I started meditating, I had that problem tremendously.
I'm trying to fix that
right?
part. Yeah.
So I believe in my soul that it was all created to distract us. So yeah, that's what it is, man. The insurrection, all of that. It fits oh so well that it was a distraction.
But
right.
Yeah. But one would say, two men of our nature talking like that has a negative narrative.
It does. As a matter of fact, it would probably, to be honest with you, somebody gonna find something inside of this speech right now and paint a narrative because we articulate.
And that goes, because we are keep going,
because we articulate, we strong, right? And more specifically, we willing to stand on what we say and be clear in the public space.
I stand on business,
right?
Young King,
right?
But that brings us to a clip that we wanted to transition to, right? And I see Pierre, man, he's going through.
Pierre is indeed.
What he's saying it's crazy. They knew what was going on. They gave groups power to go against the system. Yeah, it's true. That's true, man. And
probably testing. They probably trying to do a test to see where the chinks in the armor is at. See what they can get away with. Right. Yep. Because that's a good strategy.
Yeah,
I learned that in war.
For real.
Go see what you can get away with to find out, so you can shake something up and you can see where the holes is at.
For real.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you got another crew on standby observing everything. When you did this, somebody came out from here. Right. So now you thinking what just happened was an attack, but really what it was a reconnaissance mission. I needed information.
Amen. And that's what that was. A prelude. But
dress rehearsal.
All right, but you know what? We're gonna go ahead and transition out of that.
All right.
You know, because we're two black, eloquent, speaking men,
right?
Which could be considered a threat. Which brings us to a video we wanted to play.
Yeah.
Dr. Umar had a interview on the Joe Budden podcast, man, and he touched on some really good topics. And I wanted to play the video, and I wanted to get your response. And I'm going to play this video so that the audience can hear what we're talking about. And we're just going to dive right on in on that.
But anyways, not wasting no time. Let's jump right into it. Let's go.
In American society, the black man is the only man who no one feels comfortable when he flexes his intellectual or political strength. We're always considered a threat. When we speak honestly, we're always considered militant. Even if we never mention a gun or a bullet, we're militant. You know, but if the European Jew speaks, if the Arab speaks, if the Latino speaks, if the East Indian speaks, if the Anglo-Saxon speaks, it's not militant. But if the black man says the same thing in defense of his community, all of a sudden it's militant. Success of the black community.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion. Then tell me how the black community benefits from you having a white woman.
If I lend to the financial uplifting of that community, one, that's one thing. Two, if I'm helping to educate the people in that particular community, that's a benefit.
Does not your white woman benefit more from your economics than any black person?
Yeah, probably.
Exactly.
So why can't they both be mutually beneficial?
You want to know why? Because she belongs to the group that is responsible for the historical oppression of your race. So why would you voluntarily go over and marry into that? Because when you marry the woman, you don't just marry the woman or date the woman. You're dating her community and her culture. And given the history of us and them, why would you dare align yourself with that if you care about us?
So with that being said, Dr. Umar touched on that, man. He said, anytime that brothers that look like you and I speak candidly, eloquently, intentionally, with strategy, purpose, and fortitude, we looked as a threat.
Yeah. I'm sure you felt that.
Yeah. What kind of narrative does that paint for not only folks in our age range, for folks that was before us, and also for the folks that's after us, and then the folks that was before us, and how they move throughout life.
Right. I mean, I guess the way I could speak on that is I could talk about a couple of examples of history, right? Because you know how Drewski think. If we want to figure out way things are going to happen, we got to see the way things have already gone, right? So at the last show, we talked about Senator Charles Caldwell, right? A very strong, articulate, strategic man who went about the process of being on the Mississippi state legislature as one of the first black senators in the country on the state level in the most racist state, right? And they murdered him because he stood on business, because he was articulate, eloquent, strategically minded, right? And with goal oriented for the liberation of Africans in America, right? Then moving forward, we had a brother Marcus Garvey, right? Who had the same concept that Africans in America would not be treated the way that they deserve to be treated. So he wanted to ensure that we were able to build our own. And he was a very eloquent, articulate man.
Absolutely.
And I do believe that they recommended that man, who was of Jamaican descent, leave the country and go back to his homeland instead of stirring up things way here.
Absolutely.
Right? And then the KKK and all of that did their thing, and then we wouldn't see another strongman mentality come up until the brother Malcolm X, brother minister, and we see what they did to him as well. So I think that history, first same with Fred Hampton, right? Same with Martin Luther King, because as soon as he started saying that, I believe that I sold you,
economic reparations,
right? And this American dream was the American nightmare because social integration don't matter without economic integration. And when that happened, that speech happened 6 months later. King was dead, right? So I think that it lends to the history of the country that we could talk about a span of from the 1870s to the 1970s, and you see over the course of 100 years, there's been the same response to strong, articulate, well thought out, strategic black leaders. They had the same response and the same fate. And then now when Dr. Umar says in 2023, 2024, that people feel threatened when you see a strong, articulate black male, I think that he's recognizing a sense of a strong history and tradition of doing just that.
Would you say that the narrative of the generation before us, our forefathers, the narrative that they try to create was to stifle, mute, and intimidate us from being independent thinkers, strong, and those to speak out?
Without a doubt. I mean, all of Willie Lynch's whole theory was intended and designed about that, right? To break the mind of the black slave, to make them more efficient and loyal instead of trying to join together and have insurrections.
So it feels like it kind of worked, right?
Nah, no kind of about it. We missing words with that. Fear is absolutely an effective motivator.
So would you say that our generation, and maybe let's just say our brothers is in their 50s, let's say 50s and now, do you think that our generation has now been broken to the point where we're scared to speak out?
Aren't we?
It's messed up that because we kind of tread on eggshells.
Right. I do every day. Every day I make a decision on what I'm gonna say out loud and what I'm gonna not.
And it's really tiresome because it goes back to the code switching. It goes back to not able to have the ability to speak power to our people, and also it gives us it threatens us to speak truth to power.
It does,
right?
It does, because
it seems like we were sitting here tap dancing around what's happening with Dr. Gay. It's tap dancing around the things that happen in an insurrection. Tap dancing around things that we know inherently is correct. Right. But we've been conditioned by their narrative to stop us from speaking truth to power and honestly. Right. So in 2023, what we're leaving behind is the bitch assness.
Yeah, we definitely gotta leave that bitch assness behind. I agree with that. So in good keeping with that, I had said I wasn't gonna speak on it, but when you said code switching, the Most High pinged me a little bit in my chest and was like, go ahead and say something about it. So I want to talk about that, right?
Okay, let's go.
So first of all, let's define code switching real quick for the viewers that might be listening that don't know what it is. Code switching is a phenomenon that most black people got to experience, where we got to become somebody else in order to survive.
It's part of our
I'm gonna say it again. We have to become someone else in order to survive, right? I know full well that when I leave outside of my home, and when I say my home, I mean my community, right? When I leave outside of my community, I know full well that in a lot of instances, in order for someone who is not family and who did not come from my home, in order for them to see me and hear me as the man that I really truly am, I do understand that I have to, unfortunately, appear non-combatant. I have to dress a certain way so that way I could be viewed as a respectable individual. I have to utilize language so that way a person can understand and interpret what I want to understand and interpret, as opposed to them taking it the wrong way. And I've been taught these values and these skills because I had to learn how to survive code switching. So now, with that being said, when I'm outside of my community, I understand that I am in one way, shape, or form behind enemy lines. And code switching is necessary if I want to accomplish the goal of being heard or seen, while simultaneously breaking down those barriers that exist of prejudice and bias because of whatever way that you've decided to see me as an individual based on your own insecurity, right? I do understand that I got to combat against that. So I often find myself asking questions as opposed to making direct statements and trying to be as disarming as I possibly can when I speak.
Disarming.
Because I don't want someone to feel uncomfortable, lest their uncomfortable part makes them miss my point and not hear me, right? So I do understand that that's something that I have to do, but why the fuck we do that to each other? Why, when I'm home, when I'm trying to get the vote of my people, or I'm trying to get the ear of my people, when you know me, and you flesh of my flesh and you blood of my blood,
you know me.
Why do you expect me to code switch to get your vote? Why do I have to appear as a certain person to get your vote? And Andrew Nelson, I don't really actually believe that if I'm in a situation where you flesh of my flesh and the blood of my blood, and you know that, like Hov said, you came from the same hood I came from, we share basically the same story, right? And I get in front of you and I can show you, and you know that I'm qualified, right? And you feel that I'm qualified, and you know that I understand your story.
Know your plight.
But you'll say something to the nature of, oh, well, why you got a hoodie on while you up here talking to me?
What does that matter?
Right? Because what does that mean?
What does that matter?
Why does that matter? But you know why it matters? Because we so used to code switching that we expect our leadership to code switch for us. And it really, we don't analyze it and start seeing, because really what that ends up meaning is, it means that I'll be whatever face you need me to get to get elected. And if I'm willing to change my face in front of my people, flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood to get elected, then are you electing me? Or are you electing the ideology that you've been taught that I am supposed to look like?
Ideology or symbolic of what you think I should be.
Or what you think I should be. Right? Because you're not really electing me, because if you elected me, then I'm going to show up like Trump, and I'm going to say you in clear as day that my base is so close and connected to me and understands me in such a manner that I could show up as Andrew Ernest Nelson every single day, and I could go out on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and they still vote for me. Right?
That's what he said.
That is the backing of your base, when the people, when your own people, flesh of your flesh and blood of your blood, votes you in and elects you in to do your bidding.
You're right.
And I don't understand why we don't show our own people that same support, because we nitpick, right? And we expect us to code switch in front of you.
You touched on something, because it's our city,
right?
It's our city,
right? And I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I got to.
If you know me,
right,
know where I'm from,
right,
know my intentions,
right,
know my heart,
right,
knowing that, and then you know the actions that I've already done,
right?
You already displayed it.
You see me. But you still got to touch on and police me, because I'm not meeting your standard that you've already drummed up that I'm supposed to be.
I shouldn't have to put on airs when I'm in public. Like, this is like, so Chester City is our city, right? Mm-hmm. And the city is so tight knit,
right,
that you don't need to put on airs, because you know me from birth, for most people, right?
Right.
So we can dictate however, whatever we want to do, however we want to do it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to be us placating to anybody else.
Right.
But with what we need inside.
Right. Right.
So it really hit home when you said that, like, City Hall can be ran whatever mother effing way the city decides it to happen.
That's correct.
And it doesn't need to answer to anybody else.
Right.
So I agree with you with that, man. Yeah. And you touched on some things there, bro.
Hey man, we gotta leave the bitch assness in 2023.
So we leaving the bitch assness in 2023.
Right.
We leaving not being able to speak eloquently. We're putting our we always say put them on the table.
Right.
And I'm speaking masculine to the men out there,
right?
You know, because a lot of times we get a little bit nervous of, one, being threatening,
right?
2, upsetting folks,
right?
3, being ostracized,
right?
Well, you can't be ostracized if you have your community behind you, and the truth is going to hurt people's feelings
a little bit.
It's the truth.
Right.
So let's start speaking truth to power.
Yes. Let's love the truth and hate the lies.
Exactly.
Instead of loving the lies and hating the truth.
Let's stop saying things that you think people want to hear because it makes them feel good, right? And start leading our community.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to apologize for the thoughts of protecting the community that looks like mine's, protecting my family, and protecting our elected members that look like me to put in place legislations and policies that's going to be beneficial moving forward.
Facts. Because that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Right. And that's what we need to understand. We need to put our people in and support our people.
And
right?
we got to
Moving
stop being so damn scared.
Right.
Because that is the narrative that they painted towards our forefathers who had to do things in quiet.
Right.
But them brothers still prevailed.
They did. Because they understood that they wasn't going to succumb to the fear. Right.
So they did it so that we don't have to.
Right.
And I want to speak that too. 'Cause I know this is not on a part of the topic, but to our old school folks who's listening, our previous generation, our boomers, some of our Gen X who done and paved the way for us. I've been in conversations with them and they said, well, if I had to do it, then you do it.
Right.
What sense does it make?
Because then you crawl so I can walk.
You crawl.
Then you walk so I can run.
Exactly.
Then you run so I can fly.
So why would I have to start over? That's why they have automatic saving on Microsoft Word, my Nick. So I don't got to start over.
Right.
If the power get cut off, the laptop saves where you were. So if a software can do it, why we can't do it as a people?
Right.
So
why
we're not
can't we pick it
asking
up?
for you old school cats to get out the way. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is help,
guide,
guide.
Yep.
Right.
Utilize that wisdom.
Think about this as a long car ride across country.
Right.
You got us from Philly to Tennessee. You tired now.
Right.
You can't see the road.
Right.
It's cool.
Let us get behind
I'm
the
here.
wheel. We driving the bus.
Get on the side, right?
Right.
So then you got,
But I need you to be right there next to me and telling me,
but I
like,
want
listen,
you in the
young
seat.
brother, right?
There's that
Listen, there you
pothole.
go. Right.
Oh, no,
Watch
don't
out
go
for
this
that
way.
pothole.
This way is a
Yep.
shortcut.
Right.
Oh,
And
here's
make
a couple
make
dollars
you
for the
switch
toll.
out these tires because you about to go over this terrain that's a little bit of roughness,
Facts.
right? And when I made the mistake back in this other mountain, right, I don't want you to make that mistake, young brother. So go and switch out them tires.
Talk about
right
because and then those who are financially up and say, hey, I know you need this, young brother. Here you go. Pay that toll.
Right.
Pay, we car needs some changing.
Yep.
I got that.
Right. Don't
because
worry about it.
we're still in the car because we're still going to need you to continue to move forward. But if you keep being in the way,
Right.
and that's what I mean by being in the way, not helping out, by going to sleep on the passenger seat.
Right. When instead, what you're supposed to be doing is in the passenger seat, right? And you're supposed to be saying, "Hang on, young brother, don't fall asleep at the wheel."
That's like, got you. Hold on, watch that.
Because I know what that looks like, right? That's the wisdom. That's
or
the wisdom.
saying, young brother, you off direction right now. You're getting a little sleepy.
Yeah.
Let's move him in this position.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's ready.
Right.
So you're not out, bro.
Right.
You're not out.
Right.
But just sit
right
in
now.
the mat.
Just go recharge your batteries
Go
a little
get a
while.
nap real quick. Sit in the
Right.
back.
Right.
Let this young boy up.
Right. Or how about this? I need to take a break. Right. So you go ahead and sit in the advisory role for a little while and let this young brother over here start driving the bus for a little while so that you can learn how to lead as well.
Because guess what? Because maybe as the old school, my words not getting to this younger young guy.
Yeah.
But your words will mount.
Right.
You 42.
Right.
You could probably talk to this 26-year-old.
Absolutely.
I'm 60, 70 years old. My words only can get to you. What I'm saying to him, he might not hear.
Right. For sure.
But let me advise you as you advise him.
Right.
And there you go, building a roster in a
roster, a
depth.
lineage, right?
Right, a lineage.
And now we done drove across the country before we know it, and we get a chance to look back and we can say, look what we
Look
have
what
done.
we did. We did.
Right.
So our kids can be like,
Right.
now we can now instead of the car,
Right.
now they taking planes back and forth through
Right.
the land that we travel.
Right.
You
Right.
dig what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I just got to give a big up to the politicians who I know that's doing
Right.
it. And I'm gonna give a big up to Senator Williams who does that, right? And there's a few in the city. Yacht does that. People who put people on.
Yeah.
Who does that? We definitely give you guys props and hope that you can teach your peers
Right.
that as well.
Right. And then I think it's worth saying that when we have
Also, Blondell Reynolds too. She does that as well. Sorry.
when we have the seasoned individuals pour into us, right? I think that we owe it to them to pay it forward, and then that way when we in the boat to be the seasoned individual, we got to do the same exact thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you saw the Hamilton musical.
I haven't seen it, but I heard of it.
All right, so there's a song in there where George Washington says, "I'm gonna teach you how to say goodbye," right? Because he want to go sit under his apple tree.
Because I hate musicals,
one
bro.
more hit. So listen, Hamilton's not a musical.
That's what they say.
I mean, it's a musical because it's music.
That's why I ain't see The Color
But
Purple.
so I ain't see The Color Purple. Because The Color Purple is a legitimate musical.
We should talk about that one too.
Right.
But we'll talk about it later.
But Hamilton is not a musical. Hamilton is poetry in motion.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay,
They
I got you.
rapping like that.
Yeah, I heard
Hamilton got
I
bars,
see skits.
bro.
They been spitting some bars.
It's
They been
bars.
spitting some
It's
bars.
I wouldn't call it a musical.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna call that poetry in motion. You know what I mean? But anyway, teach us how to say goodbye. There was a part where Washington, he wanted to make sure that after 2 terms he went home and laid away because he wanted to show it. It's like, listen, government needs new energy, right? Government needs new thoughts. Government needs to be able to be as structural as it needs to withstand the wiles of time, but it also needs to be nimble enough to move with the whims of the people, right? Simultaneously. And the best way to do that is teaching them how to say goodbye. It is okay for you to step down and pass on that leadership.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the stepping down, passing on that leadership, reaching back and pull people up, let us not, when that happens, when the old heads pour into us, let us not be someone who goes back and talks junk now, right? Let us be the one that goes and continues to do the same thing.
We have to. And,
Right.
and I'm going to charge all our brothers to do that, right? So brothers our age, and I'm saying our age, bro, because 35 to 45, right? We all rock together. We all in the same thing. You see a young boy in your line, in your line of work, in your neighborhood, hey, what we leaving behind in 2023 is allowing them to rock out by themselves.
That's a fact.
Right? We're going to bring them in. Pull them in, man. Pull them in. Give them game.
Right.
One thing, and I apologize to all the young boys, and I really don't apologize, but soon as I see a young boy that's doing good, man, I'm putting my arm around this young man, giving him game, chopping it up, and just to run off the young boys that I like to mentor, man, we got Sadiq Kamara out of Lansdowne, we got Will Griffin out of Lansdowne, we got Nasir Leach out here in Chester, we got Hafiz Tunis out in Upper Darby, who became council president.
Right.
This young man is 28 years old. He's Upper Darby's council president. And the first black mayor of Upper Darby, Ed Brown, who's our age, and he instilled that peace, right?
Right.
So the young boys that's out here,
not Darren Gubbins. Was Darren? What's Darren's last name?
Darren Burrell.
Darren Burrell,
right out there.
One, yep.
So. And he's our age, right? And he does the same thing. He pull in young men to mentor them and put them in the right pace. And they don't necessarily always got to be younger than you. They can be the same age, because if they're in this space, they're probably new to the space just because their age may not be reflective of it.
Right.
So pull them in, give them game, build the roster. I'm trying to build this Delaware County roster.
Right.
People ask me what I'm doing. I'm trying to build a roster, my dude. I want to make sure that we have people in places all throughout they say cities across the river.
Right.
Right. From Yaden to Marcus Hook, from Marcus Hook all the way up to Newtown Square to Villanova. I got a young bull out there in Villanova right now, mentoring so that we have a bench, so that we can have a collective unit of young people rolling. Right. And have political power, man. So that's I'm challenging all of us out there. And it doesn't have to be politics, man. You see them in the union. If you're a union guy, pull them in. Right. You see them on the block, pull them in, make them do something different.
Pull them in.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then the last charge I want to give about politics: if you see politicians out here doing stuff they ain't got no business doing, or leading in a way they ain't got no business doing, let us all be Katt Williams to the future politicians, right? Let us all be Katt. Right, because everybody got a little bit of Katt in them, right?
Yeah. You
see something going on that don't feel right, don't taste right, get your Katt Williams on.
Hey man, Katt,
go on Shay and air it out.
Katt got the internet on fire, man.
Got the internet on
and
fire.
We'd be remiss if we don't talk about it, man.
Wouldn't we?
Because I mean, like, you can't scroll, have a conversation without hearing what Katt said, right?
Right.
And one of the things for our show, I think we can dive into I call it the shenanigans of it.
Yeah.
But which is great. But we're going to do that. But we're going to probably put it in the frame of what was Katt's narrative behind it? What was he trying to do? What was he trying to create out of this?
That's a good question, man.
Like what was his purpose?
I got a couple ideas on it, man. But and look, Leslie over there burning up.
Yeah, we got it. I know she was waiting for this, man. We gotta talk about like. What's Katt problem, man? Like, is he doing this for likes? Like, what's up with him, man?
So I'm gonna say my take real quick, right? I don't think Katt got a problem. I think Katt's a genius, right? What I think Katt got a little fed up, and he said, "Look, y'all gonna stop disrespecting my name like I'm not a stand up, like I don't do this stand." Because he said stand up a sport, and he said I'm in great shape. Basically, I'm paraphrasing.
Okay,
he said I'm in great shape. And you out here treating me like I'm not one of the top greats of stand up, dead or alive right now. And then y'all out here calling people like such and such and such and such a king of comedy. And then he like, well, based on what?
Okay.
Cause you got a man wig? And then he said, nah, you a fat Faison lie.
Fat Faison lie. Yo, but you know, to go against that, right?
Uh-huh.
I looked at it as sometimes people ain't relevant unless they're talking about you. So their level of importance is about speaking lies or truth against you.
Yeah.
Could that be the case, or is Katt really like talking that talk? Like, is he?
I really believe Katt talking that talk, and here's why. Right? Here's why. Because if you trying to remain relevant, right? Like, keep it Dougie. If you trying to remain relevant. What you coming at Faison Love for?
Yeah, Faison,
like where is following that?
Faison hasn't really been.
Cause what?
Yeah, he just been like a comedy goon. That's. I think he's a comedy goon.
Only thing I really remember Faison Love from was that role on the Parrot Trap.
Oh,
but other and he was Big Worm.
Big Worm.
So and
to be fair, he have some. To be fair, Faison has some classic scenes.
Yeah.
And he was also on was that Partner Couples Retreat where he was dating that young girl.
Right. And that was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
Right. So, but they all cameos though, bro.
Yeah, they're supporting actors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he does have some, classic lines. Playing with my money. Right. It's like playing with my intelligence.
Right.
Like, he has some great lines, man.
I agree. I agree. He got some great lines, but do he got great stand up? And I think that's where Katt is at.
I can't remember a Faison stand up. Right. I can't lie to you.
So said stole his joke.
Said stole his joke.
Where does the line draw?
Where do you draw the line? Where does it stop?
Because a lot of them have transformed into actors. So why does it even matter where they are in stand up when they transition to a whole nother place?
I think Katt trying to keep the comedy pure. He like, listen, if you a comedian, do stand up, and if you're not doing stand up, call yourself what you are. You an actor.
But you're never going to, because even like Richard Pryor did a few stand ups, and then he transitioned to all the movies that he did.
Yeah,
he did say that.
With Red Fox.
Yeah.
With all these
no, hold on. Pause.
Katt did say,
not Red Fox. Red Fox did a stand up like maybe a year or two. He did stand up specials right before he died. So Red Fox was an actor, but he was a stand-up too.
But what he said was the goal of comedy is to be a comedian, then get the movies,
right?
Then get the and then get the movies, and then get to that Eddie Murphy level, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at the natural progression of all comedians. They go on stage, they do the grind, then they get their little cameos on shows, then they get their own sitcom or they get their own special, then they get the movies, right? And then they can continuously repeat the cycle, just like Eddie Murphy did. Eddie Murphy went to Raw to his own Beverly Hills Cop, right? So now he's one of the top grossing people that's making those movies, and now he's doing Disney, right? So then you do the Disney thing, and then you go back to the rated R thing, then you do the Independence thing, and then be able to go back out on the road. So.
He's done it all.
Yeah.
I think Eddie is a great deal, but I also think he's telling his truth. Everybody going on Shay and talk. That's what see Pete feel the same way I said.
What he said?
He said basically where a lot of people is arguing that Katt is a hater, and I ain't gonna hold you. I sensed a little bit of hating in his voice. I gotta call a spade a spade. There was a little bit of bitter ass ninja in his voice. It was right.
Yeah.
But maybe it was rightfully so. He Off the rip, he came in going off on boy about the Santa Claus. Right.
So they say, good morning, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Say.
Good morning, Malcolm.
Hey, man, Steve Harvey got a wig, my nigga.
Like immediately. Right. Off the rip, he came out good. So I did sense a little bit of hateration in it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't believe Bull read 3,000, my ass.
3,009
books. That's 8 books a year.
Yo.
Listen, once upon a time, you said to me, and I quote, you were reading Bull.
Yeah.
And I agree with that, right?
Yeah.
I read every day,
Yeah.
right? Every day. I'm working on something right now for William Penn that I got from a constituent that was at City Hall the other day. I'm working on that right now. It's a little boring, by the way. But listen, I've never at my max touched 8 books a day. Nonfiction.
I ain't think I've made 8 books a year, bro.
And my man is hitting that at 8 years old. No.
Nah.
Today you could run a 4.140?
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
You was one of the tallest kids in your class in elementary school?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not.
But so apart from that though, I think that because once we got past that, right, you could see that clearly Katt has a impeccable understanding of the business.
Oh, big time.
Right? He
Very
is clearly
intelligent.
articulate and
Very
intelligent. He is clearly strategic, right? He is absolutely funny because for what it's worth, how many people can do a 2.5 hour interview and you got the world that watched most of the interview? And I was entertained
no
for the
dead
most
spots. I was entertained.
And shout out to Shay Shay for asking amazing questions.
He's
Who
on
knew
point with
Bull
it.
was such a great
He's on point.
Did you know that?
I don't know who. I don't know who's in his corner that's writing them Jones with him. With him, I ain't gonna say for him. With him,
with him. But yeah, bro, it was an excellent interview.
Man, it was.
I
great.
said so many times. I'm like, great question.
And I take a little bit of sympathy with Shannon because he's kind of like us, right? When people ask us questions about our friends in the political specter or the public space, and he's like, ho, you see how he kind of maneuvered it a little bit? Yeah. He's like, I can't say that, man. But what about this and what about that? That maneuvering was impeccable by Shannon.
It was, man. It was an all across the board great interview. I walked away with a better understanding of Katt.
Okay.
I gotta say that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Come on, let's hear it. I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead. Let's hear it. Go ahead. Go on in the mic, gal.
He get this every time.
He do this every time. He about to bring out a show.
Yeah.
He always does that.
Right. Yeah.
Like literally look up Katt Williams interviews. It's literally right before he bringing out a stand up.
And he calls the big dogs out. He called out all the big dogs.
But he does it all the time.
And guess what?
The last time he was bringing one out, he came at Tiffany Haddish, which was about 5-6 years ago. Yeah. And then Kevin Hart defended her when him and Tiffany Haddish was on. I think they were on Charlemagne or Breakfast.
Yeah. They were on the Breakfast Club. That's what it was. It was the Breakfast Club.
One of those.
When Kevin was like, you know what makes me mad about Katt Williams, Charlemagne? When are you going to accept responsibility for your part? You became a threat or a risk to the industry or whatever, and then that's when he introduced or reintroduced that drug narrative.
So one thing,
Katt Williams said he ain't never done a hard drug in his life.
And then one thing about Katt is that
our moms say that. I mean, our moms, our dads, and our aunts say that too.
Nah, that ain't true. But one thing, my mom and my aunties and all them,
I'm just
they all
using
admitted
that
to using crack.
I'm just using that as a. I'm not saying our mom.
Nah, they about to say they admitted it.
My mom didn't either.
Right.
But I'm just.
But here's how we know he's telling the truth. People always respond.
Right.
Because if he didn't have a lick of validity,
right.
If he wasn't who he's supposed to be,
right,
it'll get thrown on the water. But the minute he goes on,
everybody
every single name jumped on.
They sure did.
And said something.
And check this out. Out of every single name that jumped on and said something, how many of them said Katt is out of his rabbit ass mind?
Some trying to paint that. They say he needs some help. They say they need some help.
The closest thing I heard was where they was like, well, y'all know it's Katt Williams.
Yeah.
Right? But that don't sound like a denial to me.
It doesn't.
That sound like a deflection.
Because if you know that person knows what's going on, you're going to be like, I got to say something. So because we know that he's valid enough to make these statements, right?
Right.
So it's like, you know.
Brother Wakil brought up a good point. He's wise enough to promote his stuff.
Yeah.
So Les, it ain't nothing wrong with the fact that Katt is waiting every time until it's time to release a special to get everything going because he know where to get the people going, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he know every time he calls a ruckus.
Right.
And then he brings something out, everybody's gonna watch it to see if he's gonna talk about those same things.
Sounds like Kanye, sounds like Jay-Z, sounds like Disney World.
But on the flip side, if you are one of these if you're one of these people who catching these strays,
right,
you should be a little bit thankful.
You sure should, because listen, every time somebody writes "Fat Faison lie" here going forward,
always relevant, because that's the word for 2024.
You didn't matter, Faison.
That's the 2024.
Now you are going to be trending, and you
as
don't even have to be a
Fat
Faison liar.
FFL.
Right? People gonna show you Fat Faison love.
That's hashtag FFL. Use a Fat Faison
go on and
lie.
put out a special now, because you matter again. And call Katt and tell him thank you.
So when he was doing this and he was talking about the Kings of Comedy, I was just thinking, is he hating on Steve Harvey, or has Steve Harvey ever been funny to you?
So Katt Williams said, when was the last time you heard a person say that Steve Harvey is my favorite comedian? And I'm gonna second that. And I'm gonna second it again.
Yeah.
No, it's not hating when it's true.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Was Steve Harvey's piece fake?
Yeah, it was. But he was right. We all believed that it was real.
Did Steve
I
Harvey...
wanted that shape up forever.
That joint was fire. It was.
Whoever his barber is, bro, you should be a quadrillionaire.
I definitely used to say that, right?
Yeah.
But it was fake.
And that fade was all that.
I really think it was fake.
We know it was fake.
Yeah, it was fake, though.
Yeah, it was fake.
Now we know it's fake.
Yeah. Because look at it.
Because he also admitted it, too.
Yeah, and he admitted it. Look at it. Did you go from a perfect hairline to straight bald because you can't grow hair? Who does that?
Who does that?
Where they at? When you grown? Steve Harvey.
That's like me coming in tomorrow.
Self-admittedly.
That's like me coming tomorrow looking like Drew.
Right.
I can't grow that shit. I want to grow it.
Right.
But I'm at a phase where I can't grow hair like that.
Steve Harvey
first.
He was self-admittedly. Steve Harvey was an old head before he made it big. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, he was in his mid-30s,
when he was
late
Mr.
30s.
Hightower, the show that he stole from Mark Curry, because Mark Curry was a basketball player that made it, that came back to be a high school coach. Steve Harvey was a music person that made it, that came back to be a high school music teacher. Mr. Hightower, fade was fire. Mr. Hightower from some Steve Harvey off the door, he said he was old when he got famous. Who you know got a perfect hairline when they old? And then a couple months later, now they bald and can't grow no hair.
I know some.
Right? If he was going to have hair loss, wouldn't it have started happening already?
Hair loss starts when you're in your 18 to 22.
It's early. Hair loss don't wait until your 50s and 60s to start going out.
22.
It was fake.
Yeah, it was fake.
It was fake.
And you know what, right, man? I agree with you. I think Steve Harvey has his place in Comedy Hall of Fame.
He sure does. As a host.
He's one of the best hosts.
He is one of the best hosts.
He's an entertaining host.
Yeah.
And that's why
But they didn't give him his own spot on the Kings of Comedy for a reason. He was a host because that's what you good for. You good for transition jokes in the middle.
Absolutely.
You great at reading off a card and throwing a couple of jokes in the middle. And I ain't gonna hold you. Steve Harvey is entertaining.
Very.
It shouldn't have been Cedric the entertainer. It should have been Steve Harvey the entertainer because judge him off as an entertainer, right? Steve Harvey is a good entertainer.
Very entertaining.
He is.
Any
I
space
listen to
he's
the
in
Steve Harvey morning show.
Yep.
I like the Steve Harvey on the Family Feud and all of that. He is an entertaining man.
Yeah, he's very
But he
entertaining.
is not. He's nobody's favorite comedian. Said stole that joke.
Yeah.
Stole that joke.
Yeah.
And then he gonna go on and say, "Oh, I might have been doing that joke for 6 years."
Talk about
Show
plagiarism.
Me the receipts. Show me the
That's
receipts.
plagiarism.
Right. Show me the receipts.
I turn the of to a the and the to a him.
Right.
Yeah.
And just because the premise of yours is a space shuttle rather than the Cadillac, which is as big as a space shuttle,
Which is they call this
right?
the hood
They
space
called
shuttle.
it that. They used to call
They
my
called the
Uncle
Cadillac
Tank.
a deuce and a quarter a spaceship.
Yeah. So
that's the spaceship.
You know what I mean?
My grandfather had a big behind caddy, and it floated like a spaceship.
Right.
So that's how he took it.
But what about Katt showing love for God? What about Katt saying that I was turning down roles that forced me to display my black man masculinity in a manner that I don't agree with?
Yeah.
What about Katt and what about Boosie crying, saying that the only person that looked out for him, or almost in tears, saying that the only person that saw that he was going through some stuff and looked out for him was Katt Williams? What about all of the people that said that Katt was throwing money at him and giving him tips quietly and didn't do anything for clout?
And
you never heard about
everything we just said about bringing someone in, bringing a shoulder, cultivating the next. He did that. Yeah. And we wasn't even touching that.
He did.
He said you was a good comedian. He said that. I know you ain't getting no bread. He throw you some bread. Right. He's empowering others around. So that's one thing we definitely got to give him love for, man. Because he didn't do it for for the clicks and the likes.
Right.
So that's probably why he can stand on what he stands on when he says it, right? He stand on business, right? And because people know his integrity, his actions, and his experience beforehand gives him the leverage and the latitude to talk what he's talking.
For sure. And he understands the business, right? He understands ownership. He has raised children that was his own, plus that was not his own. You know what I'm saying?
Steve said, appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think ultimately it was all good, man. Because at the end of the day, comedy is popping again now.
Here's a question.
Right?
Here's a my question is this: is Katt Williams that funny?
Nah, bro. I think Katt Williams is hilarious. So,
lately or previous?
I mean, even this World War III thing when he was like, "Now I know that somebody lying because why you gonna tell me it's a wing shortage, but now you got thighs. Last time I checked, they got the wings, the two of them, and that part. I thought that stuff was
now,
funny. I laughed continuously for that whole hour. See, now there was dry spots.
Yeah.
But there was never a time that I didn't at least follow the
and
joke.
I know comedy is subjective and everyone has their own favorite comedian, right? But if I say Katt came out bad and like maybe I give him like a 9.5 as out of 10 coming out to get his first joints. Now I agree. Me,
bent over hurting.
Yeah, now to me, 2023 Katt is plateauing around like a 4.5 or 5.
So I'd have gave him 5 or 6, but I don't disagree with you. But what I will say is, so I have a firm belief that comedians got like a 3 special shelf life.
Okay.
Right?
Yep. Okay.
So all the greats, right?
Okay.
You look at it, they got 3 solid
3 home runs
that carried them, and then they might do some ones after them, and we're gonna call them funny, but they was not like
it's the beginning
they was
pivotal
not stand
one,
out.
the middle one while they hot,
right,
and the last one to revitalize their career.
Right.
Those are the top 3. I say the comedy specials that comedians give.
So now, with that being said, I gotta say that there are 3 people in the most recent history who have begun to slightly defy that 3 special rule.
Okay.
Kevin Hart, he made it to 4 for me. Right, that last one, okay, the Deirdre Jones, that was the last hilarious one I saw from Kevin Hart. Okay, and I think that was his 4th one. Dave Chappelle, in my opinion, don't miss.
Okay, I don't think Dave misses.
I don't think Dave misses. Every one of his specials, I'm entertained and laughing. He don't miss, so he defies it. And then lastly, I'm gonna give it to Katt, because the reality is
not Chris Rock.
So I like Chris Rock. I do like Chris Rock, right? I do indeed. But I also understand that from the door, Chris Rock and Cedric, they in the same boat as me.
You think Chris Rock still jokes?
No, I don't think he still jokes. I think they're funny, but I don't think they're impeccable, amazing, memorable Bernie Mac funny. Okay. Bernie Mac was my top comedian.
I do think Bernie Mac is the most original, funniest person that ever faced the earth.
Yeah, same. And when he died, I'm giving the top to Dave Chappelle, right? Okay. I don't put Cedric or Chris Rock in that boat, but I definitely put them in the boat as some of the best, right? Okay. So I'm gonna respect Cedric. I think he stole that joke. Yeah. But I also think Cedric is funny.
Okay. So
Steve Harvey is entertaining.
He's entertaining,
right? But ultimately, I love to see a black man get paid. Like Cole say. So to be clear, I don't got no issues with none of these people. Nah. None of them. I think I respect them all.
But I'll put a Kevin Hart in the same category as a Cedric the Entertainer to me, right? I don't see, like said, stand-ups, they would be okay. Yeah. Kevin First Jones, they were funny, and then now the rest of them, they're okay.
I agree with that.
He's more on the Cedric the Entertainer scale of things.
As far as comedy, stand-up, right?
Yeah, like
but what I gotta say is that man's acting. That's where he's gonna be a great actor. Kevin Hart is going down in history because he makes his movies are great.
He's a great actor.
So and he's a hard worker. He's working every day.
And truth to be told, Cedric Entertainer had like 5 leading sitcoms.
Yeah, he did. Right? He did.
So he's working too.
And he has one now.
So that's what let's call them that. Let's call them funny actors.
Yeah, so they're in that space to me, right?
They are.
So then you got your commentary, political observationists, right?
Yeah, DL Hughley.
DL.
Yep.
Dave.
Yep.
Chris Rock.
Yep.
Right?
Definitely.
So those are those conversationalists. You'd be like, damn, that's funny as hell.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. And I think I'll throw Katt in that category as well.
I would too.
Right?
I would too, because he's very conscious.
Very conscious.
I would agree with that. And that's their body of work.
That's their body of work. Yep.
Dave Chappelle, although he did a show, people know Dave Chappelle as a stand-up comedian that has done a few TV.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. Not to be confused with your Kevin Harts and your Steve Harveys. These are TV shows. And I really think that that's what Katt was trying to explain.
Yeah.
That comedy is a sport. And if you're not playing your sport, i.e. stand-up, then don't come out claiming a title that you know don't belong to you.
No, I agree with that.
And I don't disagree with that.
I agree with that.
Right? Let's call Steve Harvey an entertainer.
Yeah,
I ain't trying to take it away from him.
He's a comedy host.
Y'all mentioned, like, he might have been a stand-up in the 80s, but that was 30 years ago.
But that was him trying to get on the team.
Right. Once he got on the team, he did exactly
he got
what
in the
he's
game.
good
So,
at.
like,
Steve, an actor.
You got to go through the ringer, right?
He was acting like that hairline was fire.
He built
Steve, an actor.
Yeah, that was funny.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, he's one of those, right? And I'm just trying to think of like a third category is like more of physical comedy.
Where would you put Martin Lawrence at?
Oh, Martin's a stand-up.
Yeah, so he's more of a physical comedy guy.
Yeah,
right?
he is.
So he's not a Cedric.
Right.
He's not a commentator like Dave and them. The Martin Lawrence. I think that's another whole sector, right?
Absolutely.
And his show wasn't a sitcom. His show was sketch comedy.
Yeah.
Basically.
And,
right?
And to be honest, he's one of my favorites, but recently he's been a little dry.
I agree, but because he's past his shelf life.
Or you get a little lazy. See, I think just like every ball player who finally get that big contract, right? So as soon as you get that big movie deal, as soon as you get that damn sitcom, as soon as you get that Disney contract, because he did the Eddie Murphy joint too, right? Then all of a sudden your stand up and your material gets dry. So as soon as that athlete gets that $100 million contract, i.e. Russell Wilson, right? Now all of a sudden you can't play ball because you finally reached the precipice of all your hard work.
Right.
And you got to get back to the game.
Right.
So you got to be like LeBron. You got to be like Kobe.
Right.
You got to be like those people who finally get that bag. But guess what? The bag was the incentive, but it's not going to stop them from continuing to love that sport.
Right.
And that's what Dave Chappelle is, right? Dave is your LeBron.
Yeah.
Dave is your Jordan, right? Your Magics who got the bag, but still saying, look, I love this
I
shit.
agree. But I'm going to also say that Kevin Hart is your Kobe. Oh yeah, that mother sucker's work ethic.
Kevin Hart is doing everything.
I love Kevin.
Everything.
But I also still think that Katt Williams, dollar for dollar, laugh for laugh in a stand-up, to me, is funnier than Kevin Hart. And people might hate me, and I don't care. But compared to where Kevin Hart can get me out of my house to come into a movie, right? If I see Kevin Hart in the movie theater, I'm going to go watch that movie.
Because the movie's going to be good. No, to be honest, that movie will be good.
That movie is going to be good.
It's going to be produced well.
But if Katt Williams is in that movie, I'm probably gonna watch it on Tubi, right? I'm gonna be honest with you.
If he's the lead,
I'm probably gonna watch it on Tubi. If he's the lead, Katt Williams is not pulling me out of my house to the movie theater. But you know what he's gonna do is he's gonna get me logged into his stand-up special.
True that
he is.
Because his funniest thing he ever had to me was when he was on My Wife and Kids as the rapper boy, and I don't know if you've seen that. And he was acting like he was on My Wife and Kids. YouTube that joint one day.
I'm a YouTuber.
Him and David Wayne's. And he was like, I own you, big head, I own you. Like that's one of the funniest things I ever seen him do. Yeah. So
all right, P, I'll go with Tim Duncan as well. I don't feel like it's an insult to Kobe because at the end of the day, I could get behind Tim Duncan too. But to be clear, I want to clear this up. I don't think it's an insult to Kobe because Kevin Hart works his ass off.
He is a worker, right? He is a worker.
Mamba mentality. Kobe's legacy was about work. Kobe said, "I'm the greatest because I work, not because I wasn't born with this talent. I'm shooting 1,000 times a day to get here."
Who said? I was listening to a podcast about that, and he was like, you got athletes who are gifted, who was born with, like LeBron 6'8", 260, right? And you got Magic Johnson 6'9", 2 something as a point guard. You got Wemby 7'4". These guys are naturally God gifted.
Shaq,
right? Shaq, God gifted in attributes.
Chef Curry. Because that ain't just practice.
No,
he got natural talent.
He does have natural shooting. No, but what he was saying is people like Kobe, people like Steph Curry. When you see a 6'6" point guard, 6'6" 3 guard, that's everybody. You give a 6'6" shooting guard in the league, that's 99.9% of the men in the NBA. But what made Kobe stand out? His work ethic, that Mamba mentality. What makes Steph Curry a 6'3" point guard? That's every point guard in the NBA. His work ethic, the way he can shoot out the gym, right? And that work ethic is definitely transferable to how Kevin Hart works. And I agree with you on that. And I was going to say, the year is, and that's my mantra for 2024 because it's 24. Year of the mantra, year of the Mamba.
Yeah.
That's right. So this year for me is I got the Mamba mentality,
Right.
man. You know what I'm
I
saying?
like it.
Take no prisoners, man. We gonna work,
Right.
work. That's what I put on my Facebook. Everybody wanted to know what I was putting on Facebook. I said I'm just excited to do the work.
Right.
I'm just excited that we got some work being done, man.
I like that, man.
You know what I'm saying? I got this Mamba mentality. I ain't taking no prisoners, man. I'm working, man. So, yeah, Kevin Hart is one of the hardest working people in there. I like Mike Epps too, man. Mike Epps is
Mike Epps is funny.
He's a
I'm gonna give Mike Epps his flowers.
He's a
right?
funny bull, man.
But what
I think we overlook him a lot.
We do, because Mike Epps gave us some classics.
Because like they say, without Friday, you don't get Chris Tucker, right?
Right.
No Chris Tucker Friday doesn't. Smokey
Right.
is Friday,
Right. But
right?
Day is next Friday.
Day is the next Friday.
Right.
Day is next Friday.
45, 46.
And About the Benjamins. He
Right.
is that movie.
All About the Benjamins
Right.
with Charlie
And
Sheen.
Money
That's
Mike
was that
is-
Charlie Sheen? No, that's Money Talks with
That's
Charlie
Money
Sheen.
Talks. That's Chris Tucker.
Right, that's Chris Tucker.
Yeah. All about the Benjamins
Oh,
with
right,
him
right,
and
right,
Ice
right.
Cube.
Cube. It was Cube.
That's
yeah,
the one.
wait.
Tucker.
Yeah.
The white
That's
around
right.
your
Book 'em.
lips.
Yeah. That's right.
So
That's right.
Mike Epps gave us some classic movies and classic lines out of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Friday after next is Money Mike, right? So you're right. I can't see Ricky Smiley playing that. The Santa Claus was cool, but the Santa Claus was just another comic relief.
Right.
The main funniest joint was, be gone. Like,
Right.
Pimp 42, pimp in his dress.
Right.
Like, that
Right.
was hilarious
Right, it
to me,
was.
man.
I am a boy,
Damon.
Yep.
You was just going to take it, wasn't you?
Nothing on your balls.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Question is Diddy? What's that? Is
Bunking with Kels this year or not. Diddy, I don't know if Diddy gonna do time because who gonna testify against Diddy? I think the person who was able to put Diddy in jail, Diddy put in the ground.
Diddy got too much clout, resources to go to jail. Because if he would have, anything that'll put him in jail would be a sexual assault on a woman, correct?
Right.
For Cassie, correct?
Right.
So, nah. But one thing is for sure, when P. Diddy does, finally get his calling, that untold story,
Right.
woo,
Right. It's gonna be
that
something.
movie is going to
Right.
be crazy.
It
That
is.
tell-all book that Kim tried to put out,
Right.
man, we're
Right.
going to see some good. It's going to be like the Epstein files.
Right.
Those names that dropped on Epstein.
Right.
So,
Robin Diddy.
you know what I mean? Surviving Diddy. I don't think he's going to go down. And if he does, it's going to be the point where he's very vulnerable. And probably if he does anything economically that's destructive or devastating, I think that's going to be it, man.
Nah, I don't see Diddy going to jail. What I see Diddy doing is stepping down and falling into the abyss.
Yeah.
Right. I don't see him going to jail. He's too big.
He's too big, man.
Yeah.
Too big to fail because J-Lo opened her mouth. You know, J-Lo know better, bro.
Right.
J-Lo is sitting there chilling with her, what's that? Ben Affleck.
Chilling.
You know,
And J-Lo got
on her 8th ring. She got more
top selling.
She got more
movies. J-Lo
engagement
ain't-
rings
she don't
than
need no
Robert
man,
Horry,
though,
bro.
Right? Because she don't need no man.
She got more rings than Bill.
There you go, Bill Russell.
Bill Russell.
Right.
You know
That's
what I'm
hilarious.
saying? You know what I'm saying? That woman there.
Bill Russell had multiple rings on all of his fingers. That's hilarious to me.
So that must mean she must got some. No mind. We on the whole
Yeah. But you're not wrong.
She controlling the narrative.
Yo, she is
definitely
definitely
controlling the
she
narrative.
controls the narrative of everything. Right. From a fly girl in a living color
Her and Lori Harvey.
to fly. She was a fly girl in a living color to buying the damn Florida Marlins.
Yep.
Wow, you talk about a story, and you talk about using the power that's in within you, because she used the power from within her.
The power vested in her.
From being a fly girl to an owner, man.
Right.
You talk about Jenny from the block.
Right.
Go ahead, salute, J-Lo.
Salute.
You showing how to maneuver. Salute.
Right.
Seriously, man. I just was thinking about that. You know, what did he say while he ran out the room? Inquiring minds want to know. Who ran out the room? Did he?
Ja Rule.
Ja Rule.
Oh, Ja Rule. Why he ran out the room? What happened?
I don't know about that one. I ain't been checking on that one. Right. Dice pineapple.
Right. Well. To be fair, man, I was just listening to that New York anthem. Ja Rule had one of the dopest anthems.
Ja Rule used to make great music. That's why 50 shut him down. Because 50 knew that Ja Rule is who's staying in my way.
I'm from New York. Right. I got 100.
And that remix was fire.
I got 100
Listen,
and 100 clips.
I used to say this. Everything that Ja Rule touched when I was in high school was heavy in the airways.
Yo, for real. I was just telling
Heavy.
Stacey, like, I'm from Philly, right? I'm from West Philly, man, all day, every day.
Born and raised.
But that song in New York, you know, because we you know how it is down here. We don't really give New York too much props, man. Like, you know, but
Right.
that song, I was mad that I loved it. So I bumped it in my car quietly. I had rolled the windows up,
That's
put the
hilarious.
AC.
That's
That's
That's hilarious.
because I'm from New York.
What's thug loving?
Malcolm said, "I'm riding down while loosing with the system
Man,
quiet."
I can't ride down
Quiet.
the deuce bumping that. You know what I'm saying? I got a bump. I'm from PHILA
period. PA period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thug loving with him and
Right.
Bobby Brown.
And you
Oh,
know
that was a good
you're
one.
getting on.
That was a good
That
one.
was my jam. And you're gonna miss my loving, thug loving. Yo, we had an hour and a half. We got to close this.
Yeah, man.
It's been
yeah.
so much. This is about the most fun I had on the show in a while.
Yo, I'm trying to tell y'all.
Yeah, man. This was great, man. Had some really great content, great conversation, man.
Absolutely.
And you know, we want to just go back to what we leaving in 2023 as we close out.
All right, so we leaving that divisiveness within the household because
That's
men and
right.
women, we need each other.
We need one another,
Right.
man.
Absolutely.
We gotta
need-
be together.
We leaving that publicly tearing people down.
That's right.
All that we leaving that in 2023, man.
Absolutely.
Show love, man. We
Show
got the world
love,
got enough
man.
negativity.
Let's build.
Show some love.
We leaving behind putting effort to foolishness, and if you are going to put the effort to the foolishness, put the effort to the impact and things
Right.
that's going to matter.
Right.
So let's show that same energy, bro.
Right.
You can have fun on social media, but
Right.
have some fun in social responsibility.
Right. And then I feel like we'd be remiss if we don't reach out and we don't check our brethren.
Yo.
Right. Leave that bitch assness in 2023.
That's right. Reach out to the side, reach down, and if you feel like somebody's trying to reach down for you, man, reach
Right.
that hand up. Don't have no pride in taking it. It's foolish to have pride if someone's extending
Right.
a hand to you, man.
We stronger together.
That's
man.
right, man.
And
Don't
that been the game. That been the narrative.
absolutely.
We stronger together.
Don't take that as that criticism as a negative thing, man. Listen with your third ear, man, and be receptive to it if someone's trying to give you game. And you said, like, we leaving bitch assness in there,
Right.
and we leaving being timid.
Right.
And apologetic for who you are and what you
Absolutely.
believe in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we leaving all that, man, in 2023. We
One
gonna wish.
last gem.
Go
bro.
ahead.
Women got spaces where they talk and pass information, and that's what makes them more efficient. We need them spaces.
Absolutely.
So sit down with a fellow brother and start talking.
Absolutely.
And I know it ain't really, we ain't supposed to be out here. I ain't talking about gossiping, none of that. What I'm talking about is getting it off your chest.
Build.
That socialization that you could pass that information down from generation to generation. Women are bred with that. And when men get in the room, we usually only talking about women, sex,
sports.
little stupid stuff, sports. Nah, man, utilize that as an opportunity so that we could really actually start
Economic
pouring back into
development,
each other.
building
man.
businesses.
We need that. Building them bridges so
That's
that we
right.
can all cross
That's
these
right.
waters.
That's right,
we can
man.
cross these barriers. You know what I mean?
That's
but
right.
listen, man, shout out to you, bro.
Hey, man, shout out to you, my brother. You know what I'm saying? We just continuously doing what we got to do, man. I always say we just walk in the light that God illuminates for us,
Yes,
man.
indeed. That's it.
And this is one of the things that we have to do.
Yes,
we have to
indeed.
use our platform and we use our network to promote who we are and let other people know that you can see yourself in us,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And it's never be and we're going to continue to follow through and provide the narrative of what black men should
Absolutely.
be like.
No doubt about it. That's what we standing for, and we're gonna stand on business in that.
Standing on business in 2024, man. My name is Malcolm Yates.
My name is Andrew Nelson.
Hey, man, we are the narrative.
Yes, indeed.
This is my heritage, all I'm inheriting. Money and power, the